Hello, Reagan here. Okay, so I got this skeleton at the dollar store like last year, I think around Halloween. And okay, as somebody that absolutely loves loves old sideshow attractions because my grandmother and I used to travel a lot when I was little, I really, really, really wanted to create my own take on the Feejee Mermaid. um, so what I did is I got together some toilet tissue, like the single ply stuff, and some Viva paper towels because I didn't want something with a texture on it, and that was the only brand I could find that didn't have a texture print on it, you know, like the little flowers pressed into it or whatever. So I got that, and then in the spray bottle is some watered down Mod Podge, and I just sprayed it and then kind of pushed it in with a sponge brush to kind of get it on there so that it gave it that lumpy, gross, rotten skin look, like a mummified mermaid. Anyway, but I did that, and then later on I went ahead and added some ink into the Mod Podge so that it would give it like a darker base color, so it'd be easier because it's just easier to paint it and stuff and not have like those little white under chips, you know what I'm saying, of color or whatever. Anyway, it went pretty smooth and I had to let it dry overnight in order to actually finish it. But yeah, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to put something together like this. This is great for making some Halloween decorations and stuff, to just use this method for other things. You know, just a little bit of Mod Podge or PVA glue, watered down, and some tissue paper, and just go to town, you know, and you can make all kinds of fun stuff with this. I made the Feejee Mermaid specifically, well, like the mermaid, not, like I said, it's not exactly a Feejee Mermaid, but that was my inspiration, mostly because, you know, it's something I kind of miss. Sometimes I have, you know, get those nostalgia, you know, cravings. And when I was a kid, my grandmother and I used to travel a lot, so I've been to a lot of those like roadside attraction places that have all the weird things, you know, and I love those and I miss those, and it reminds me of this type of stuff. A lot of those places have, or had, you know, I don't even know if a lot of those places still exist. I've been to some things but not the same, and I do watch a lot of like carpetbagger videos because he goes to a lot of the type of stuff that I really enjoyed going to as a kid and would like to get back out and start going to again. Anyway, but I did want to discuss a little bit of the history of the Feejee Mermaid while I work on this, and it's pretty fascinating. There was a lot to it. Strangely enough, it was kind of a weird situation. In 1822, the original Feejee Mermaid was acquired in Japan by an American sea captain, Samuel Barrett Eads, and I mean that's the rumor. I don't know if he was the one that actually acquired it, or if it was a whaler, but the popular consensus was that it was Samuel Barrett Eads. Anyway, but he paid like $6,000 for this thing, and that was a lot of money. He purchased it from a Japanese fisherman, and it was really common for Japanese fishermen to make these things. They call them the Ningyo, which directly translates to human fish. So it's a creature with both human and fish-like features. It was featured in a lot of Japanese literature, and it was just something that the fishermen would, you know, make or whatever. You know, it's just a thing. But anyway, bottom line is, dude buys this thing, right? And takes it back home to London, and it's displayed in the Turf Coffee House on St. James Street in London for a few years, off and on. And eventually Captain Eads' son takes possession of the mermaid and decides that he's just going to try to make some money off of it, try to recoup some of the, money that his dad spent on it or whatever. But he takes quite a loss. He sells it to one Moses Kimball of the Boston Museum. And that happens in 1842. So that's like 20 years after Eads has acquired it, after his father acquired it. So anyway, so Kimball is like, this is great. This is something I can make a few bucks off of. It's different. It's not something that people have seen. Let's have some fun with this. I can make some money off of this. So he goes, and he's kind of checking out the thing and seeing what kind of money he can make off of it. It's all good. He decides that he's going to go ahead and show this to Barnum, because he knows that P.T. Barnum is all about some weird stuff. I'm P.T. Barnum of the Barnum and Bailey Circus, and he was all about some crazy things. So he's like, oh, you know what? Let's show this to Barnum and see what he thinks of it. So Barnum sees it and he's like, oh man, this is great. Like I definitely need this. And then, but Kimball's like, well, I'm not gonna sell it to you, but I will, lease it out to you for like $12.50 a week. Barnum goes, okay, all right, you got a deal. I'm sure I can make some money off of this. So Barnum, he's like, okay, let me drum up some attention and see if we can get this out there, and get some interest going or whatever. So he's tried everything. He's like trying to get naturalists to say that it's actually real, to try to authenticate it as an actual creature. He's going out of his way to try to get somebody to be on board with him publicly, accepting and announcing that this thing is real, or they believe it's real, just to try to solidify a better chance of getting a bigger audience, kind of impress everybody with his Feejee Mermaid. He changes the story, says that it was, from like a whole different place than where it originally was from. That's hence the Feejee Mermaid name, and he does thing, whatever. And he starts sending out, or having one of his people, one of his cohorts, Levi Lyman, sent out these anonymous letters to New York newspapers, and saying that this Dr. Griffin had this object that he caught in South Africa, and and he's trying real hard. He's telling people, that this is something that he caught himself, and that he's this doctor, and and he's trying to drum up as much publicity and stuff, and really get it out there and get people interested in what this thing is, and trying to build it up as much as he possibly can. So he gets things together, and he decides that he's going to take it on tour. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and, go throw it on tour, make some money. No big deal. Not a big deal. So, after like a month in his museum, he sends the Feejee Mermaid on tour. He entrusts his uncle, Alanson Taylor, with the mermaid. He says, take it on tour, they had like a whole show or whatever, so he's like, do your thing. He didn't think much about it. He just figured just something else to throw in there to make a few bucks off of. Didn't think it was going to be a big deal. Well, little did he know that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes. You gotta realize this is pre-internet. These people, word of mouth, newspapers, things like that, took time, and it's kind of hard to keep up on all the dish. Anyway, so Taylor gets to South Carolina. only to land headfirst into the middle of a bitter feud between two rival newspapers, the Charleston Courier and the Charleston Mercury. And their whole big feud and dispute was about the Feejee Mermaid. So, Richard Yeaton, editor of the Courier, wrote a review of the Mermaid after seeing it and said, "This is real. It's real. 100%. No doubt about it. No history of any of these things as far as not being any kind of scientist or having any knowledge of anything, other than being a newspaper editor. Yep, it's real. Declares that it is real. At the same time, Reverend John Bachman, local amateur naturalist, goes to the other paper, to the Mercury, and says, yeah, this is stupid. That's not even this is a hoax. This is stupid. This is a waste of time. No, that's not real. What? So these two get into this heated argument over this thing, and it's like this nightmare, to the point where Barnum's uncle just quietly and secretly shipped the mermaid back to New York and just, just kind of, yeah. So, once back in New York, between Kimball and Barnum, Kimball was in Boston and Barnum was in New York, and they just over probably like the next 20 years or whatever, they kind of just bounced the mermaid back and forth. In 1859, Barnum went to London, and when he was in London, he took the Feejee Mermaid out on a little bit of a tour while he was there. Whatever, just another little something to make a few bucks off of, not a big deal. And then brought her back. And the last verified known location of the Feejee Mermaid was in Kimball's museum. And the prevalent theory was that she perished in a museum fire. There's been some speculation as to whether or not it was in Barnum's museum, which burned down in 1865, or that she burned down in the early 1880s in Kimball's museum. So we don't know exactly, but that was general consensus, was that she burned up in a fire. So Harvard's Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology has one that many have speculated to be the original Feejee Mermaid, but they're not the only ones that claim to have the original Feejee Mermaid. A lot of people have created these and claim that they were the original. So, who knows? But like I said, there's a lot of people that are in possession of something fitting these, fitting the basic idea of the Feejee Mermaid. Luckily for all of us, including myself, the Feejee Mermaid still lives on in pop culture, regardless of the fate of the original Feejee Mermaid. And it's become a blanket term, household name for any of the fake mermaid gaffs found around the world in sideshows, behind bars, or in curiosity shops. The Feejee Mermaid also made an appearance in an episode of The X-Files. It was season 2, episode 20. The episode was called Humbug. So yeah, she was something else, and quite the little lady there. Got around, caused some controversy, and was very entertaining for people. Anyway, but yeah, so there's a little bit of history on the Feejee Mermaid, and here is my rendition of the Feejee Mermaid. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. And by the way, my Patreon is up and running, and if you join as a patron, even if you just pay 1 month, you will get a lifetime of 50% off anything and everything in my store. And yeah, all that fun stuff. So check out my links down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.